What's good, y'all? Welcome back to Read No Soups. I'm your host, Tyreek, and today we're reacting to an article from Bleacher Report titled One Hot Take for Every NBA Team After the First Week of the Season. The first week gave us some great games, some great performances, and everybody loves a good hot take, so let's go ahead and see what Bleacher Report has for us. And as you can see, this is the BR staff, one hot take for every NBA team after the first week. I'm interested to see what they had to say, man. If y'all ever see an article, just go ahead, send it to me on Twitter or something, because I like reacting to these for sure. So we got the Atlanta Hawks, and Trae Young will finish top 5 in MVP voting. I said Trae Young is going to be a finalist for the MVP award. That's my personal opinion, and I'm ready to go all in and saying that he's going to be the MVP. I think Trae Young can really win the award this year. I don't think that's too far-fetched to say. Let's go ahead and move on to the next team, which is the Boston Celtics. Jason Tatum will lead the NBA in scoring this season. Now, I haven't really been able to talk too much about Jason Tatum since that first game. I gave him his credit after game 3 of the season when the Celtics got their first win. He played really well. He was getting to the basket, attacking. And then last night against the Hornets, he had a very good game, scoring 41 points, was in attack mode. I like seeing that version of Jason Tatum. I think he can be one of the leaders in scoring, but there's a lot of guys that are having great scoring years so far. So it's going to be a tough race, I think, for the majority of the season. But Jason Tatum has all the opportunity to do so this year. Next, we got the Brooklyn Nets. And they say the Nets will begin the playoffs on the road. So basically that's saying that they won't be a top 4 team. They won't have home court advantage in the first round. That is a hot take. I don't know. I think, personally, in my opinion, James Harden is getting off to a very slow start. I don't see that lasting that much longer. James Harden notoriously gets off to slow starts. KD has been killing. And I'm in the camp that I think Kyrie Irving will be back eventually. I think he'll be back eventually. And once that happens, the Nets are going to start clicking. They're going to be the team that we expect them to be. It's definitely been a rocky start, but I think a lot of teams have had rocky starts. But this is a hot take for sure. That's what this article is all about. So I'm not opposed to that, but I think the Nets will have home court in the first round. Next, the Charlotte Hornets, who have been one of the surprise teams in the league this season. They said they will have their first All-Star in 3 years and their second. So basically they're saying, I don't even have to read this. They're saying Miles Bridges and LaMelo Ball are both going to be All-Stars this year. And so far, I like the take because they have started off so well. Miles Bridges has been playing amazing. LaMelo Ball has been great. Even though the other night he finished the game on the bench because he wasn't, not that he wasn't having a great game. It was just that Ish Smith and that's, him running with the starters was just playing, they were able to get back into that game and they were playing very good basketball against the Nets. So I like James Borrego as a Coach of the Year candidate so far. And, right now, I would pencil in Miles Bridges as probably the most improved player. I would also pencil in, him and LaMelo as All-Stars because they've been that good so far this season. Next up, we got the Chicago Bulls, who have been great so far, 4-0 on the season. And the hot take is the Bulls are true title contenders. And I'm going to say, I'm not going to take it that far right now because they haven't really played anybody noteworthy. The best team that they have beaten is the Toronto Raptors, and they're not really that good. They did beat up on the Celtics, the Raptors did, but not really a great team, so far in the season. They beat the Pistons 2 times and they beat the Pelicans, who just got their first win last night. So, slower breaks, but I do like what I'm seeing from this Bulls team. And look, being able to beat up on bad teams is still good because the Bulls were able to beat the bad teams last season, but they struggled to do so. Like, they would be close games against bad teams, and Zach LaVine would really have to go into his bag. This season, Zach LaVine hasn't had to be, the superstar that he was last season scoring the ball. DeMar DeRozan has had nice as leading scorers. Those has some nice games on the offensive end. Very well-rounded team, and I think I'm excited to see this team play against a team that we do think is a real contender in the Eastern Conference or just in the NBA in general, because I think that would be more telling of what the Bulls are as a team. The Cavs started off 2-2. They just beat the Denver Nuggets last night in Denver, and their take is Evan Mobley will be the best player before the end of his rookie season. Interesting take. He's been really good so far this season. This rookie class has been very good. And that's without Cade Cunningham even playing. But this is a nice take. I like this. Mobley has shown great ability to switch on the defensive side of the ball. Him and Jared Allen on the defensive side have been great. They've been running this big lineup with Lauri Markkanen. And after the first game, I said don't do it again. They kept doing it. And it's not looked that bad. It hasn't looked that bad so far. So this is kind of a hot take, but Mobley is definitely, I think he's surprising me a little bit because it takes bigs some time to really adjust to the league. Like, you don't really see a big man come into the league and be super, good, right off the bat. But he's been very good so far through his first 4 games. We got the Dallas Mavericks, and they said Kristaps Porzingis won't finish the season as a Maverick. I can see that after the first quarter of this season, he has not been very good. The first quarter against the Hawks, he played really well, and then after that, he has not been that good. It might be time to, start looking elsewhere, but what could you get for Porzingis? Because he's still a valuable piece, to this Mavericks team. But what could you get for him? That's really the question that Mark Cuban has to ask himself, and the Dallas front office has to ask themselves. You definitely want to get more, just consistent. I think, guys that can create outside of Luka, not put everything on Luka. So far, the Mavs, their offense has not looked amazing. It just hasn't looked great. We'll see how it goes. It's only, a week into the season, but it's not looking great so far for KP. Denver Nuggets, and if fully healthy, Denver will win the West. I've said this before. I think if they're a fully healthy team, they are one of the top teams in the West. I think last season they probably would have made the finals if they were fully healthy with a fully healthy Jamal Murray. They were missing PJ Dozier, Will Barton for parts of the playoffs. If this team was fully healthy, they are one of the best teams in the league. The Detroit Pistons. Killian Hayes is the cover, and it says it's time to bench Killian Hayes. And I'm gonna say this as nice as possible. He's been garbage so far this season. He's been bad. First game he was scoreless. I think another game he only scored 2 points. The other night, Jeremy Grant was out. He only had 3 assists, 9 points. It's looking bad for Killian, man. He was somebody I was really high on when he came into, his rookie season last year, and it just has not worked out at all. He had a bad summer league this year, had a bad preseason, and the start of his second year has been pretty bad. They had better options behind him, honestly. They had better options. Corey Joseph plays a lot better than him. Saban Lee has shown, better flashes than Killian Hayes has. Might be time to bench him, man, and, let him, sit and watch a little bit. Sometimes that's what young guys have to do, and sometimes that's what young guards have to do. You got to sit and watch sometimes. Watch some veterans ahead of you, see how they run the floor, how they run the team. I still think there's a good upside to Killian Hayes, but, right now it's not showing, so they might just have to bench him, not only for the benefit of their team, but for the benefit of himself, because it'll be easier to see from the bench what you could be doing better than, sometimes playing through your mistakes doesn't help. It just, hurts your confidence even more. And hopefully if they do bench him, his confidence doesn't get more shook than maybe what it is. Golden State Warriors, been a very good team so far this season. An impressive undefeated start. And their hot take is the Golden State Warriors won't make the play-in. Let's see what this says. The Warriors played twice in last year's play-in tournament, losing to the Lakers, Grizzlies, to see their season end abruptly. And then it says, they're saying that they will be a top 6 team in the West. I don't think that's a hot take at all. Let's move on to the next one. The Warriors have been good. They've been impressive. And if Klay Thompson, James Wiseman, and them come back, somewhat themselves, Kuminga is able to produce as a young player, I think they're a lock to be a top 6 team in the West. The Rockets, Jalen Green had a great game the other night. Shout out to him. And Jalen Green becomes the 6th rookie to average at least 20 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. I don't remember who the last one to do. Maybe Luka was the last person to do this. When I see those numbers, Tyreke Evans immediately pops out of my mind because that's what he averaged his rookie year. But Jalen Green's been really good so far. Now, we know he can score the ball. It's just the 5 rebounds, 5 assists. Just look outside of that. I like what I've seen from him. He hit 8 of 10 threes the other night, which I think is just a great performance, especially for a rookie player. Truly one of the best shot makers that we've seen come into the league in quite some time. I think, I'm impressed with him. I'm impressed with, Christian Wood's been really good. Some of the other young players for this team has been good. Alperen Sengun's been pretty decent for them. Kevin Porter Jr., we'll see him come along. I'm still expecting him to be in the most improved player race at some point in this season. But I like the Rockets. They're very fun to watch. The Pacers, it's been a struggle for them so far. They're 1-3. They've lost a lot of close games. I think they lost 2 games by 1 point. Just a fine line between being 3-1 and 1-3, which is what they are now. And they say Domantas Sabonis is a top 3 power forward in the NBA. It depends on who you consider a power forward. I say it's KD, Giannis, and AD, the top 2, whatever order y'all want it to be in. But Sabonis is very underappreciated. He is very good, perennial all-star. And he can just straight up hoop. He can just straight up hoop. He does a lot of things for this Pacers team. I'm interested to see if their struggles continue. What moves will they end up making, as the season goes on? Because You know, Miles Turner, who had a 40-point game, you know, a couple games into the season, how long is he going to be there? Is this, you know, Sabonis Turner front court going to work? Still, you know, haven't seen TJ Warren play basketball in like a year. So yeah, I think this is a hot take for sure. Top 3 power forward in the league. Maybe he's playing like one right now because AD's been kind of, you know, here and there. But Sabonis, shout out to him. He's elite. Next, we got the Clippers, who just got their first win last night, 1-2. I think they're better than what their record is showing, though. Now they say Paul George will win the scoring title. I think he's second in the league in scoring right now. Quietly off to a really good start. And even last night, he only scored 16 points, but he had 8 steals. PG just knows how to affect the game. I think the Clippers, I like this team because they just play with that, like, without Kawhi, it just seems like they're just playing so free. And that's not a knock on Kawhi. It's just like guys know that they got to step up. And it's like they're playing with, they always play with this, like this no fear type of mentality. Like they just don't care. Like Reggie Jackson, if he's 4 for 20, he's going to shoot the 21st shot. Like he doesn't care. Terrence Mann comes in, plays with confidence. Luke Kennard had a big game last night. Like PG just knows that he's in full command now. I really like this team. I like what Ty Lue does. 1-2 right now. I think they're going to improve a lot. They beat the hell out of the Blazers last night. Defensively, this team's very good. They could easily be like 2-1, 3-0. Like they lost a couple close games. I think this team's going to be really good. PG winning the scoring title is a big possibility, and I think taking it a step further, this team is like a top 5, top 4 team in the West. He could be in MVP talks for sure. The Lakers, this is what y'all was waiting for. A Laker hot take. It's not nothing to do with Russell Westbrook. They say Austin Reeves is going to be a staple in the rotation, and so far I think so. This team, they look a lot better when he's on the floor. I'm pretty sure his plus-minus numbers are ridiculous because when they played against the Suns, the second game of the season, he played like the fourth quarter minutes, and they went from down like 30 to down like 10. Like they only lost the game by 10 points, and he was on the court pretty much the majority of those minutes. So I'm sure his plus-minus numbers look crazy. I think he was plus something the other night when they played the Grizzlies and got their first win. He's been really good. The Lakers do a good job of finding these kind of diamond in the rough type of players, these undrafted guys. They found a THT late in the first round. They found Alex Caruso a couple years ago through the G League, who was undrafted. And now Austin Reeves, I believe he was undrafted too. They find guys, and so far he looks like he's going to be a part of this rotation. Definitely one of the more consistent shooters that they have. The Grizzlies, who have been very good. Ja Morant will make the All-Star team. I think this is a lot, man. I think Ja Morant's going to be an All-Star this year. He's playing with so much confidence right now. Like confidence is through the roof. He just gave the Lakers 40 and 10 the other night. Right now, he's probably the MVP of the first week. Like, he's been that good. I'm interested to see how long that will continue because the Grizzlies, every year, we look at this team, we're like, this is not a playoff team. They regress. They took a step back. And they come out and play, guys step up. This year's Desmond Bane and DeAnthony Melton stepping up. And Jared Jackson hasn't even tapped into playing his best basketball yet. Steven Adams has been very good. Like, they just find ways. They traded Grayson Allen, and they haven't really missed that impact that much because Desmond Bane stepped up so much, and Kyle Henderson moving to the bench. I don't think Dylan Brooks has even played a game yet. This team, Taylor Jenkins deserves a lot of credit. Ja Morant deserves a lot of credit. And all the guys for stepping up, they deserve a hell of a lot of credit for what they do. They just lost their first game to the Lakers the other night, but they've been fun to watch, and they've been really good this season. Miami Heat, and right here it says Tyler Hero will be the 6th man of the year. That was my preseason pick, so I like seeing him coming off having a fast start. And I said this year can be a big jump for him. He was talking big shit before the season, saying that he's on the same level as Trey, Tatum, Luka. But so far, he's been really good. I think he's averaging like 23 points per game. Taking a lot of shots. He basically is the second unit. And he's probably, outside of Jimmy Butler, he's like the next best shot maker and shot taker and shot creator. Like he's been really good. I think this is something that's going to continue. And I think he's going to win the award. I'm doubling down on that. I think Tyler Hero is going to win the 6th Man of the Year award. Milwaukee Bucks, haven't heard a lot from them so far, but they say Giannis should be a full-time center. And I think for spurts in the game, yes. I think the Brook Lopez effect is a good one because Brook Lopez protects the rim very well, and he complements Giannis on the offensive end very well. Now, when it comes to the most important minutes in the most important games, you're going to see Giannis at the 5. That's what they did last season in the postseason, especially in the NBA Finals. You're going to see Giannis at the 5. And I think with his game becoming a little more well-rounded, it makes a lot of sense to play him some more minutes at the 5. But I still think having necessary Brook Lopez minutes are going to be key. And, you know, once they get, you know, fully, I don't think Bobby Portis has played yet, or if he has, it's been very sparingly. Once they get fully healthy, fully acclimated, you know, the Bucks, they're going to be a well-oiled machine, one of the best teams in the league. The Timberwolves, I've been very impressed with them this season. They say Anthony Edwards will be an all-star this year. That's a hot take. That's tough because the West is just full with, you know, guards and wings. It depends, I guess, where Anthony Edwards falls into, because I know he plays some 3 for this team. I think he grew to like 6'6" over the offseason, so he does play some 3 for this team. It's tough. I think he's averaging like 25 a game right now, so he's gonna have to keep that up. And the Timberwolves, I think, will have to be really good, because it's like, if you look at their team, Cat's probably their best bet to have an all-star. But Anthony Edwards right now would be next up, but he would really have to keep this pace up. He would have to keep averaging 25 points per game, and the Timberwolves will have to keep, you know, being above 500, I think, to have 2 potential all-stars. But as for this team as a whole, I love what I've seen so far. They did lose to the Pelicans last night, but so far I think so good. Just please, I hope they stay healthy. I really hope they stay healthy, because as long as they're healthy, I think this is a playing team for sure. They have so much talent, especially on the offensive side of the ball. And defensively, they haven't been that bad this season. The New Orleans Pelicans, on the other hand, have not been very good, even though they did beat the Timberwolves last season. And it says they doomed themselves in the offseason by letting go of Lonzo Ball. I was kind of harsh on the Pelicans in my video, I think, on Friday. I was a little harsh on them because I said I don't really believe in this team even when Zion comes back. I would like to retract that statement. Zion's very important to this team. I just hope Zion comes back in shape and is looking like himself, because they are missing 27 points per game on an efficient 60% from the field. Like, they're missing that from their lineup right now. So it's tough to really tell how good this team is when they don't have their, you know, arguably their best player on the floor. I think once they get him back, they're going to be better. I believe in Willie Green as a head coach. Valanciunas has been very good, and I think the dynamic of having him with Zion is going to work a lot better than having Steven Adams with Zion. I think it's going to help Nickeil Alexander-Walker game. I think it's going to help Devontae Graham. It's going to help B.I. too. I think the Zion effect will really help this team out a lot. The Knicks have been very good. They did lose to the Magic the other night, but we're going to scratch that. Julius Randle didn't have a great game. And it says Julius Randle will finish top 5 in MVP voting. So most improved last season, the top 5 in MVP voting this season. That's their take. Definitely a hot one. There's a lot of candidates, but he's been very good this season other than their game the other night against the Magic. I think if the Knicks don't fall off, they still have home court advantage. You have to look at this team. You got to look at Julius Randle doing what he does. And definitely say his name has to be somewhere in MVP talks. I mean, he was All-NBA second team last year, I believe. So I don't think it's a reach to, you know, say he will be top 5. It just depends really on how good the Knicks are. And so far, I love what I've seen from this Knicks team. I don't see really them falling off too much, even though the East is good. I think the Knicks got a lot better, and they're showing that so far this season. Okay, they say the Thunder could be as bad as the process 76ers. You would almost intentionally have to be that bad. The 76ers won 10 basketball games that year. 10 wins, 72 losses. Like, you almost have to intentionally be that bad. Like, they would have to shut Shea down, like, immediately. They're off to a slow start, but OKC, they don't want to win games. I don't think that they will be 10-win bad, but they will probably be bad. They will probably be the worst team in the Western Conference, at least. They've looked terrible this season. Their best game, I think their best margin was like a 12-point loss against the Sixers the other night. But this season, it's all about developing. So, I mean, if being a 10-win team gets you the #1 pick, I guess do it. But if not, I mean, just, you know, try and develop your talent as best as you can. I want to see Bazley take steps. I want to see what Josh Giddey got, Isaiah Roby. I want to see all those guys take steps forward this season. And my Shea All-Star prediction is not looking that good. It's looking bad right now. But next up, we got the Orlando Magic. And it said the rookie is already their most important player, and it's not Jalen Suggs. So they're saying Franz Wagner is their most important player. I would argue when John Isaac is healthy, that's their most important player. I haven't watched the Magic as much this season as I would like to, because I think they're going to be a good team to watch as far as developing the young talent goes. I like what I've seen from their bigs. Seeing Wendell Carter play the 4 has been pretty effective. Mo Bamba has been pretty solid too. Suggs has kind of having a little bit of a learning curve so far. But yeah, I'm gonna have to tap in because I can't really speak too much on, you know, what I've seen from Franz Wagner so far this season. The 76ers, Steph Curry will be the most improved player this season. Hot take because there's a lot of candidates, but Steph Curry's had some nice games so far this year. And depending on, you know, when Ben Simmons comes back, if he comes back, you know, whatever happens with that situation, he's gonna have to keep this pace up for the 76ers to be a good team. He has to be a very elite offensive weapon for them. He has to be able to, you know, score, you know, 18 to 20 points per game potentially, because you're missing a lot from Ben Simmons. You're not going to replace that on the defensive side, but you can, you know, supplement the, you know, 14, 15 points per game that you get from Ben Simmons with Steph Curry. The Phoenix Suns, DeAndre Ayton will earn his max contract extension. He's been cool so far this season, but it's been in Spurs. I haven't seen it for a full game. Like against the Lakers, he was effective on the defensive side of the ball. Offensively, he wasn't doing a damn thing for real. Then the first game of the season, he was great for the first like quarter and a half. And then after that, he was bad. The whole Suns team was bad. I need to see him, like I said, for him to be worthy of that max contract that he wants, he's got to put together a full season, 82 games, playing very good basketball. We haven't seen that so far for him in his career. It's still early, but I would say off the first week, from what I've seen, I wouldn't say that, you know, he's guaranteed that max contract. I wouldn't say that so far. I'm hopeful that he can do that though. The Suns team, they look like they're out of juice so far this season. They've lost a few games. They got blown out by the Blazers the other night. They lost the opening game after playing good in the first half. Then they played terrible in the second half against the Nuggets. Then they beat the Lakers. They were pretty much up by 30 at one point. It's a weird start for the Suns. Hopefully DA and company can pick it up. All right, the Portland Trailblazers, they say CJ will make his first All-Star team. I think he would have done it last season if he didn't break his foot. So far, I think he's averaging like 30 points per game. It might have dropped since last night because he only had like 20, but very good start to the season. Like I said with Anthony Edwards, for CJ, he's going to have to keep up somewhat of this pace of scoring. Not 30 points per game because Dame's going to pick it up eventually, so that's going to take away from CJ's production. But he's got to be like 25, 26 points per game, which I don't think is impossible because he was playing at the best level of his career last season, I think through 12 games, and then he broke his foot. So far through like 4 games I think they've played, I think they played 3. He's been good. He's been really good. Keep it up, CJ. One of my favorite players in the league. I want to see him make his first All-Star game. Kings. The Kings make a big in-season trade. Potentially. I like what I've seen from this team, but it's been in spurts. Harrison Barnes has looked good. Buddy Hield's had some good games. Davion Mitchell is already a really good NBA defender. Write this down. I say Davion Mitchell will make an all-defensive team this season. Not saying his first team, not saying the second team, but he's going to make one of them. He's been that good. I think he already has the reputation of being a good defender. It's kind of being talked about in the media, which is really what you need to be known as an all-NBA caliber defender. So I think Davion Mitchell has a very good shot of being on an all-defensive team this season. De'Aaron Fox hasn't even tapped into playing his best basketball, which is definitely going to come soon. Tyrese has been cool. The Kings lost some close games so far this season. What would a trade look like? I'm not really sure. Maybe they take a flyer on Porzingis. Maybe you can get, I don't know.Maybe you trade you know, Marvin Bagley, Buddy Hield, and get try and get a Porzingis. You know, who knows? Maybe the Mavs, you know, will take that if they don't get any better offers. You know, maybe you see if, you know, running Porzingis, you know, at the 4 or whatever is good for your team. I don't know. I don't know what a trade looks like for this team, but I think they're on the brink of being a play-in team. It's just right now, I think the Timberwolves are better. So far, the Grizzlies are way better, and those are like the teams that were kind of in that play-in bubble. So I think the Kings definitely, if they want to be a play-in team, which their fans deserve some type of competitive basketball. You haven't been really competitive in like 15 years. A trade is definitely on the horizon for sure. All right, the Spurs. The Spurs will make the play-in tournament. The Spurs have been low-key impressive so far this season. Yeah, they won. I don't know what their record is off jump, but I think they've been pretty decent. And this was a season where a lot of people were thinking the Spurs weren't really going to be anything. And Greg Popovich just shows like I can coach. Like I can still coach. I don't need Hall of Fame players to prove I can coach. They have a lot of young talent on this team. Jacopo's been good. Lonnie Walker show flashes. Keldon Johnson. A lot of guys. Devin Vassell had a nice game to start the season. Guys are gonna make jumps. DeJounte Murray's still on the team. Derek White. The Spurs are definitely in that bubble. I just completely forgot about them when I was talking about those playing teams. That's because at the beginning of the season, I don't think anybody really had them, really in the playing conversation. But it's definitely a possibility that they can be one of the teams in the playing tournament. Camera cut off, but we're talking about the Toronto Raptors. They say Pascal Siakam will be on another roster by the trade deadline. I don't think that's too far-fetched really to look at because Scotty Barnes has been impressive so far. You got OG Anunoby. You kind of got a front court already. So where does Pascal fit in at? Not really sure. He hasn't played so far this season. So the longer he goes without playing, and the better Scotty Barnes looks. OG's been points per game have been up, but percentages are down. I expect those to improve. So as good as those young guys are going to look, then you got Gary Trent, you got Fred VanVleet's. On the roster and stuff. Chris Boucher, Khem Birch has been good. Where does Pascal fit? I don't really know. The Raptors, I think, are trying to go a little more with a youth movement, even though Pascal is not really old in NBA years, but they will probably look to ship him maybe for some young assets. I don't know, really. I don't know where he would fit in around the league. It's going to be interesting, but I think we got to see him play basketball first to see if he can get back to that All-NBA form that he was at. Before we make this assumption. Second to last team, the Utah Jazz. Utah will be the #1 seed in the West again. I think Utah's going to win a lot of games. I think they're going to win. They're a good regular. They're a really good regular season team. I don't care about regular season for them. I want to see improvements in the playoffs where it matters. That's all I'm going to say. Lastly, the Washington Wizards. They say if Danny Avdija has a trade market, the Wizards should explore it. I feel like they could have had a better hot take, honestly. Give me some Kyle Kuzma MIP love or something. I don't know. The Wizards, though, I love what I've seen from them so far this season. The trades that they made in the offseason have been paying off well. The moves that they made, Spencer Dinwiddie's been very good to start the season. Shout out to him. Shout out to them. Fun team to watch. I'm going to double down on what I said in the offseason. I think that they should seriously be a team that should be considered to be, not just in the play-in, but I think they can make the playoffs, honestly. I think this team is that talented. I really do. And with the head coaching change, Wes Unseld seems like he's made a good transition to the head coaching realms. But that's a wrap for this article. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload. If you see any articles that you want me to react to, please send them my way because we love talking about basketball on this channel. The first week has been great, and hopefully there's many more great weeks to come this season, man. But with that being said, I'll catch y'all next time to talk about more basketball. Peace.